Dear watchers of business, it's an immense pleasure to have you and to welcome you to another edition of our ZentraCasts. So I am Marco Howen. I am the founder and the lead connector of Zentrapreneur.com. But today I'm not here for me, I'm here for our guest. So let me introduce our guest for today for a minute, and then hopefully we'll learn so much more afterwards. So Pierre Van Wambeke, founder and CEO of SeeZam. When I prepared for this interview, I said that the word resilience could have been invented by Pierre. So I think we will dig deeper into that later. But since its professional beginnings, Pierre was always in IT, and from development of a consultancy at a Big Four to becoming CEO of one of the largest healthcare companies in Luxembourg, Pierre climbed the corporate ladder perfectly through these years till he didn't anymore. So he stopped, and that's actually one of the reasons why we're here today. He stopped and decided 12 years ago to create SeeZam and dedicate himself to the encryption and security of personal data. So an interesting logic over the last few years, and this also and Pierre also has this capability of not only working. So another thing which is interesting. So he is very involved in everything which is impro, like theater, like you just do what you just got asked at the moment. So I hope we will talk about that later. And also a lot of sailing. So it's interesting to find a dedicated, totally powerful entrepreneur who also has some kind of a balance on alignment on other parts of his life. So hello, Pierre. It's a big pleasure having you today. And let me kick off with the killer question. So, entrepreneurship talks about remembering who we truly are and authentic creating on the basis of who we are. What is your most authentic creation in your life as of today?
The creation I'm proud of, you mean?
Yes. Which you're proud of, which you really feel that this is really deep, coming deep from within.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a specific topic of which I'm proud of. It's in general things that I've done over the years that I'm proud of. It's not an instant. It's just a long walk through the years, and all the things, all those stepstones that have been added, and that makes the distance interesting. It's like I'm a marathon man. I used to run for long distance, and I think that the interesting thing is not a specific objective. It's just having a long distance and to benefit for all the sightseeing, all the moments that you can enjoy one after one, and that makes the thing interesting. Not a single piece, not a moment alone.
This is really interesting because it comes to one of my deep beliefs, which is in entrepreneurialism, we are talking so much about goals. Fix yourself a goal and make sure that you go there and make sure that you will be there and so on. And what I always say is, well, that's great, but if you forget the way between now and achieving your goal, you risk to feel really miserable because you will be so fixed on your goal that you will miss out all the time during that time when you don't have achieved your goal. So I love to talk about set intention and goals, create the power of like the powerful combination of creating a goal for yourself in life, in business, in private, whatever, but set an intention, and that's what I can sense what you said. It's about having this intention of having pleasure during the journey. But something else piqued my mind now. So you talked about marathons. So I didn't know. So you did marathons?
Oh yes, I
Oh
did
yes, I remember
seven,
we talked about it
seven
a long
marathons.
time ago. And so it's like, tell me, how do you relate your experiences in marathon to business?
Well, I would say that first of all, a marathon is something that you prepare. It's not like tomorrow I will do a marathon and that's it. No, it's something that takes weeks of preparation, and the preparation that you will do will have the consequence later on. So that's one thing. That's the first thing. The second thing is a marathon. You're never sure that you will finish, and you've got to doubt till the end. When you pass the line, yes, you did it, but you're not sure that you will finish. Even the best marathon man cannot say, I will finish this marathon. And you've got also to find, you got to find not the speed of the others, your speed. While you're running, if you're going too fast, you will burn before the end. So you've got to adapt yourself to your body requirements, to the temperature, to the speed of the others, because you try to follow other people, and no, that's a mistake. You have to listen to your body. You've got to understand the optimistic speed for you, related to the training you had and related to the performance you can provide that day, because it's not another day. Sometimes you feel better, sometimes you feel worse, and the day of the marathon, okay, sometimes your body tells you, boy, it's not the right time to go for running, and you start that marathon. But at the end, you are so proud when you reach the kilometer 30. And because, why am I talking about kilometer 30? It's because that you've got what we call the wall. And when you reach that, the average is 32 kilometers, then your body starts to talk to you and say, please stop. It's time you've got enough. And then your mind has got to go over that feeling and to say to your body, no, I will continue, whatever you say. And that's a fight inside you. And this fight is something very hard. It lasts for 2-3 kilometers, and so it means 15 minutes. For 15 minutes, you've got a real fight, a real battle in your body and between your mind and your body, and suddenly you pass over, and then you are the master, and your body say, okay, go on, I'll let you go, and then you don't feel anymore that you're a bit of exhausted, and you continue, and it goes on. And then you pass the line, and you were so proud. And the first marathon I did was in Brussels. I will always remember I was crying at the end, and I was crying because I was so happy that I managed to do it. Of course, it was linked with lots of things that goes in your body, and it was not only the proudness of having done it. It was lots of things, but yes, marathon is it's a kind of adventure that I can really relate to the entrepreneurship. Yeah.
It's really, really interesting, especially when I look at your entrepreneurial journey, which we will most likely touch on later. But let me ask a follow-up question on that. What happened when, because maybe, I don't know, but maybe you had marathons where you didn't went over the 32 kilometers, where you had to stop, because that happens, as you said, you don't know if you stop. Did you have such an experience? And if yes, how did you handle that for yourself?
No, I had not this experience, but I saw other stopping. And when you pass pass and you see them, you feel so disappointed for them, and you would like to help them, but you can't. You can't. You've got to let them on, and to continue your marathon. I did what we call an ultra trail, which was 54 kilometers. And that one was the hardest one I did. It was in the north of Luxembourg. And I did it in 7 hours, which is running for 7 hours is, well, it's an experience. But yeah, and when I arrived, the doctor saw me. I was white, like my shirt, and he said, "Well, please sit down and take care and eat something." Well, that was a bit of mistake. I've eaten, and it came back very quickly.
But he said, "No, well, let's stop now. I don't want to work anymore. Nothing."
Yeah, I finished it, and I managed to have to pass over the pain, because at over 6 hours it becomes a pain. But there again, it's like being a bit of God, because you can be over. You manage. Your brain manage your body, and you've got this kind of satisfaction that you did something extraordinary.
Yeah. So now I am not the biggest sport guy, but maybe something which comes close to that is when I sometimes really go into fasting, also to overcome me or my body, and after 3 days after 3 days of only water, you go through this, like the body, like he makes you sick sometimes. He makes you, it's a little bit similar, not as extreme as running, but at one moment in time you really think you have to eat, and you don't have to. And when you overcome it, day 4, day 5 really feel good. 6 very often better, worse again. And actually I never went over 10 days, but doing a 10 days fast is a little bit is really going through the phases of showing. Maybe that's what I take out of my experience, and I draw out of yours, is it's like showing ourselves that we can go beyond what we normally think possible, like doing 54 kilometers in 7 hours. It's not given to anybody, or to everybody.
Once again, it's about preparation and knowing that you've done most of the thing necessary to start that journey. Because once again, you never start something without such a thing without preparation.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you will fail.
Yeah. Now, let us head back to your professional or to your entrepreneurial journey. Like I said, so like you were the perfect corporate man. Like you did it all. You were working for healthcare. You were working for Big Four. So it's like big development companies. Like everything is in there. What pushed you? What pushed you? What was the? Is there any, if any, is there any, like, that's the moment where I said, now it's enough. I have to do what I have to do.
I truly believe that it's the pleasure that drives me on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
It's all about having the feeling that what you do has got a sense, and that I'm in the driving seat as well. I always, my reward comes when the things that I create, that I see as a vision, becomes true. And 12 years ago, when I started SeeZam, I was telling to the others, there's a need for privacy, there's a need for protecting sensitive data. And all the people I was meeting were telling me, hey, guy, you've got Dropbox, which is coming. You're not in the trend. The trend is to have big space where you can store lots of data. look at Mega, they're doing they're doing great, and no, you're not at the right time. And today, 12 years after, I realized that having developed something which was in a against the flow, which was in full contradiction with the trend at that moment,
Yeah.
was the right thing to do. And I was developing a niche, and this niche today is something which is needed by lots of company. And I was there at the right time, because if I had not developed that at that time, I would not be today here with the solution that I've got.
Knowing you since a long time and your perseverance and your resilience, I would even argue with you and say timing was not important. You just had set your mind towards, and that's really like, because we know each other since so long, you really had to set your mind to, this will work. I will make it work. And it's really interesting. Now, I'm not sure that every time works, but for you it worked. Like, I remember we were both in cloud computing 12 years ago. I was the guy who went for the big global stuff. And I always admired your persistence on, that's what I want to go. You always stick to exactly what to. You were not distracted by the shiny thing. You had your niche. Well, you pivoted several times, and everybody has to pivot, but in essence, it's always stayed the same. So that's really something I would love to say, because we talk a lot about, in entrepreneurship, we talk a lot about timing, the right timing. And I think it's very important to have the right timing. I think sometimes you can bend the timing, and I think that's what you did. Somehow, and well, somehow it has to work, and it worked for you. So it's interesting. What comes up for you when I say that?
I think that there are two things in the vision, the strong volunteer to do something, and the obligation that you've got. Of course, when you drive a company, you've got to make money. And the first vision I had was for the B2C approach, which was a kind of mistake at that time, because individuals were not ready to think about this data protection. But companies were already thinking that there were lots of things to protect, such as board of director minutes, such as important things that are coming between the legal and the board. Well, all those things that needs to be protected became suddenly. Company realized that there was a need for that protection. And I had to, as you mentioned, I'm a skipper, and I had to reorganize my sales in order to propose my services to instead of the B2C, to reorganize it to B2B, and at the end to go to B2B to C, which brings me the mass, the quantity that I needed to make money, but I passed through the B in order to have the channel that drives the money. So I had the channel, and I had the quantity due to the C that comes later.
I love your analogy, setting the sails. SALES and SAILS. I love it. Really beautiful. Thank you for that. It was an interesting one, because it's exactly what you have to do. It's like you set your sails differently. So what I feel is, when I hear you talk, is really that you get your inspirations a lot out of your non-business life.
Yeah.
Now, coming back to, because I think we didn't finish this one really, coming back to the beginning of SeeZam and you deciding to go there. Was there anything from your, and if so, what, from your experiences as impro and say and doing sailing or being a skipper and running, which really like, that's why I pushed myself to become an entrepreneur?
There's another thing that I didn't mention. When I created SeeZam, well, first of all, in 2006, I did an MBA that opened my view on how to do business. At that time, I was the CIO of the Hôpital Kirchberg, and I really realized that there was a need for protecting data, but in the medical, in healthcare. And well, because sometimes, just to give you an example, a patient mentioned that he's got a religion, and frankly, the doctor hasn't got to know what kind of religion the patient has. But it is an important data that needs to be treated as such in a hospital. So protecting and to be able to classify the different kind of data in a hospital was something that was I was considering that as something that needed to be treated, and I work on that with in my MBA, and I left the healthcare in order to become account director for CHAM for Cargolux, and at that time I was flying. I was doing paraglide and paramotor, and I had a terrible accident in France where I was hit. I was flying. I was taking off, and at 100 meters, I was hit by another paraglide. And hopefully I had a parachute that opened something like 50 meters high from ground, and that saved my life. I felt the hard way on the ground. I broke my back, and it was like this to say hello to God and to, well, an experience. That's
a very interesting, very, very hard experience.
Yeah. And so I had to stay 3 months at home with two the vertebra broken, and well, I could have. That's really changed my view on my life. I decided to say, well, now it's time to do really what you want to do. And I really wanted to be an entrepreneur once a day. And I said, okay, now it's time to convert a business plan into something realistic. I want to do it because I've got one life. I've got to if I fail, I will fail, but let me do it. Let me test it. And at that time, my wife told me, you're very kind, but you earn your life very well. And if you start to become an entrepreneur, then you will have zero revenue. And a kind of, well, life sometimes is interesting. I had a call from a lady that say, Pierre, we are looking for an accountant in my company in healthcare. Do you know someone that could do half-time job in my company? And I said to that lady, yes, I know someone very well. Let me call you back tomorrow. And in the evening, I talked with my wife and I said, well, I've got the opportunity to have half-time, and I can consider then the other half-time to develop a business. And she said, well, okay, fine. At least you've got a revenue and we can continue to have a certain standing in our life instead of eating spaghetti every day. So that let me start SeeZam, in fact, because the day after I said to the lady, thank you for calling me, because yes, the person is me. And then the lady said, Pierre, I'm sorry, but we're not looking for a CIO or whatever. I'm looking for an accountant that can, well, sometimes it can make coffee. And I said, you think that I cannot make coffee? I can do very good coffee, and I can put sugar for you.
I love it.
And then she was she was very surprised. She said, okay, fine. And then I explained her what I really wanted to do. And of course, that job was a real opportunity, because it was for 9 months. And then I took that job for 9 months, and I become an accountant for 9 months. And then I started to develop SeeZam without having any revenue for 9 months. But I could raise the funds. I could really make the slideware into a software. And I started really to have something that was a bit of sexy to go on and to start making money with the first company that were listening to the proposition.
Wow, what a story. Congratulations. And it's didn't want to go there, but it's opened up it's too nice to not take this one. But in the eternal art of being, which is the model underlying entrepreneurship, we're talking about the life-altering moment in your life. So we are in our life. We are in what I call the reaction cycle, where we try to control, we react, and we are running around in that cycle. And in our life, we all have this opportunity of life-altering moments. Now, they are sometimes very negative. This can be people, somebody dying, somebody close to you, or divorce, or whatever shatters your world somehow. Mm-hmm. And then you get a glimpse on asking yourself, who am I in this situation? Mm-hmm. And like you stop doing, but you go into the internal and you start, who am I? And what you just described is actually exactly that. Is like you went into this moment, you had this moment, then you had 3 months at home. It's so funny, because I know another guy who worked for Big Four, 3 moments at home, and changed his whole life. So it's like, mm-hmm. not about Big Four corporate, but it's just like you ask yourself that question then, who am I here? Who am I in this? What do I have to accept? And what you had to accept is to have a half pay, for example, and to have the hard discussion, the hard conversation with your wife, and saying, okay, well, now I go for what I want or what I need to do, rather than what you think is necessary for what you were used to. Let's call it like that. So yeah, congrats, it's amazing. And that's where then you went into this awareness cycle, as I call it. It's really thank you for sharing. Very, very powerful story. The moment you became, like, 7 months in, let's say, I don't know, depends, for everybody's different. When did you ever doubt your journey? Did you ever doubt that you worked? And what made you overcome that doubt?
Of course, you doubt. Going back to the marathon, when you're running, you doubt the whole marathon. You doubt, and I still have doubt, and I think that doubt, when doubts become too heavy, I convert that doubt into a kind of strength, because then I think that there's something to do in order to change that doubt into something new, it's time to bring new certitude. It's time to bring new cards in the game that makes that change the game, and suddenly the feeling becomes become something more present, and I transform this doubt into a positive thing that drives me to the next step. So doubt period are really something interesting for me, because I think that it's the time where I realize that there's a need to change something. And
That's
if I
interesting.
don't have,
Yeah.
if I don't
It's
have
very
that,
interesting. Yeah. Sorry.
if I don't have that doubt, then I'm in a too comfortable situation, and that's not good. So I hate, but I like also that doubt, because it's a driver.
It makes us grow. It
Yeah.
gives us the possibility to go beyond where we are. Interesting enough, what you just said, and just want to dig into this one a little bit, is you talked about periods of doubt. Is doubt something which comes in cycles or from time to time, or is doubt something which is always there? And it's like, how does that work for you?
It comes with cycle, I would say, because when the doubts come, then I really focus on finding new solution. I'm a guy focused on solution, and yeah. The lady I'm living with tell me, you always need to find solution to everything. It's like this when she presents me something,
new discussion.
I don't ask you to find a solution. I just need someone to listen to. Okay, fine. But here, when doubts come, I can't do something else than finding a new solution, and having, well, it's time for opening my my mind to have eyes wide open, and to find a way to get out of that doubt, and then I can build something. And then I see the result of what has been built, and then comes the new doubt for the new things that have been built. But of course, well, like now in SeeZam, you move from one release to another. Is it the right time to move from one release to another?
Yeah.
And well, when the doubts become too heavy, yes, it's time, and then we move. And then when we've done that new release, when we've got it, when we have implemented new encryption method, then start, okay, I've got a new doubt, because then it's a cycle like this. Yes.
Yeah, I love it. It's like I just wrote down doubt as your change driver.
Yes.
Interesting. It's a very interesting concept, and something we could do a whole conversation not only on that. Now, let me ask another question, because we talk a lot about SeeZam. So we talked about the beginning, and then 12 years is an incredible long time. And maybe I'm wrong, but I have this impression now it's rolling. Yeah?
Yes.
It's like things are rolling. It's like there are no huge challenges ahead. There are always challenges. We're entrepreneurs, so there's always challenges. The question would be, do you get bored? And if not, what are you doing not to get bored?
I'm not bored at all.
I thought so.
Well, if I was bored, I would give up with SeeZam. No, SeeZam is a way to express myself in creativity, but also in showing that you can drive a company from A to Z, with having a constance. And well, now for almost 5 years, we've got 10 to 15% growth. Now, well, this year we will manage to. We're approaching the million revenue. That's good, but it goes slowly, but
Yes.
it goes well. It goes well, every year I've got new surprise, new features that comes that drives me and that interest me. This year we've introduced the electronic signature in the vault, and this is really interesting. And I've got the pleasure to sell it to my clients. I'm fundamentally I'm a sales, but when I'm selling, I'm selling things. I really live. I really believe in what I'm selling. I could not sell something that I'm not don't where I don't have trust. I've got to be totally convinced that what I'm proposing is good for the other party, and that makes me strong in front of the other person. And this confidence, because you don't sell trust, you gain trust with your client. But when you don't know someone, if you're not fully confident in what you're selling, then the potential client feel it. Say, okay, somebody is trying to sell me something. I never sell it as such. I propose something where I show that I'm fully confident that it will work, and I'm there to assist and to go with the client, which will never be a client in all between all the others. It will be someone that I know, where a relation starts, and it's a long time. It starts a long term relation. It's a partnership. I love the partnership concept. Shows that you will be there. You don't leave people alone with what you sell. You are still there. You accompany them.
You said something very interesting, is that what you are selling or what you are doing is representing you. So it's like what you do is what you are somehow. Now, this can become very dangerous game. I went into that, and but it can become a very dangerous game if you are not aligned with what you're doing and you become it. But if it starts from where you are, and then you do, it's like you started SeeZam, you made all the changes, everything yourself with your team, but it's your brainchild, and now you go out. It's like you are not SeeZam, but SeeZam is you. SeeZam is you could call it as you birthed it, and so that's authentic creation. That's what, when I talk about authentic creation, it always starts from deep into who we are, and then we do. It's like coming to me. It's like so many people know so many things I did in my life, but they were never really linked to who I am. And taking this decision to do and to go down the road of who I am, and then do and create that's my path, my journey. Well, it sounds for me that you made this decision very early, and you were very early link or aligned both, and that's beautiful. That's really beautiful. Actually, I think it is. If we would go through something, I should maybe make, but do an analysis on entrepreneurs, I think it is where we will find the successful and the non-successful projects. How aligned are you with what you do?
You're right.
So it's really powerful. Now, you have a really positive mindset. I love it. It's like, it's a calm, positive mindset. It's like, it's not like, it's not like the exuberance, but there's a calm, positive mindset. Where do you think that's come from?
I don't know. I'm, of course, yes, I'm enthusiastic, and I told you before, I'm an Epicurean, and I'm the kind of person who loves to taste. I'm an eternal apprentice, and I love to taste and to try things. And this curiosity drives me on a day-to-day basis. I hate people saying, I've always done that and I will never change. We have always done that and it's not time to change. No, I love to bring skepticism in all the things that I'm doing on a daily basis. I love to change, and I love to be in a non-stable position. Like making a step is already, well, it's sometimes it's a challenge to make a step because you're not in a stable position. And that's also maybe why I love improv. It is because improv, you start playing something without having any idea of what will come from your partner or all the other players on the scene, and they bring you things. And if you don't have the positive attitude, if you don't accept things that they propose to you, then you will fail. Then you've got to integrate the new parameters that they bring you, and to deal with those new parameters in order to build something that will become something interesting for the others. So that's really what I like in life, is to have this epicurious approach. So this mix of doubt, pleasure, and discovering new things, because I always think that I don't know a lot. I just know this, and there's so many things that I would love to learn, to discover, and it is not exploited as they could be, but I'm a human, and I need to take them as they're coming, or with the speed that I can go. But yes, that's the approach that I've got in general.
We are living the human experience, huh? and the emphasis lies on experience because that's what it is about. Huh?
Yeah.
But it's really interesting. And when I read about Epicureanism, and it's like, I feel really linked to what are my beliefs. It's about the inner pleasure. And when we talk about inner pleasure, we're talking about our inner biology, and we talk about what hormones or what chemistry we are creating in our body. Is this an catabolic, adrenaline, cortisol driven environment, a very acid environment, to go back to that, or is it a very positive oxytocin and so on and so on? So this positive environment biochemistry we are creating, and at the end, that's what these old theories, or old how to call that, old knowledges showing us, without talking about the chemistry itself. But at the end, that's what it is about, huh? Because it's I always say, it's not about how much sport you do or how much sport you don't do. It's about what you think, which will drive how well you are. And if you think that you have to do more sports, and you think all the time that, and you beat yourself up, create the adrenaline, that's when you create an acid body. And the one who runs every day because he thinks he has to run because everybody else will hate him if he's not doing, he's creating an adrenaline. He creates an acid body. But if you have somebody totally happy with exactly how he is, and I'm not saying that I am there, but if then that doesn't matter, because you create this alkaline environment. So that goes into a whole other topic, but it's really powerful. So I love this Epicureanism. So it's really, really positive. So I know what you will answer, but I have to ask you the question anyhow. Tell me about one setback in your personal or professional life, and how you handled it. What were your thoughts? What were your emotions? How did you get through it? How did you push through?
One setback.
Yes.
Well,
it was like, I had none. That's what I was awaiting now.
Of course, I had a lot. But once again, the way my mind is set is I've got this capacity, and I don't know why, but I always focus on the good things that I want to remember, and all the bad things are I get rid of that memory. And when I was talking about that accident, I take the best part of this accident I had, but all the worst moments, the pain I had, the doubt I had, when the doctor told me, be happy if you can walk again. And then I thought, well, I will do a marathon. Okay, I keep on taking the good thing instead of that doctor was a stupid guy, saying that to a patient that I had an accident the day before. Be happy if you can walk again. It was stupid, but
Yeah.
I don't hate that guy. I love him because it brought me the capacity to go over that barrier, and so to respond to your question, I'm sorry, but I cannot listen to the setback I had, because I always take the positive things in that experience, saying that okay, it
But
was
that's exactly the answer to the question.
Yes,
So there
sorry.
are setbacks. There are setbacks.
Yeah.
Falling from 100 meters down is a setback. I think
Yeah.
we can agree on that. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
life didn't go on the way it went before, so there was a setback.
Exactly.
I remember, and we'll not go into details if you don't want to, but so you had experiences during the SeeZam life which were setbacks.
Yeah.
And what I love about is like you are so linked to your positive mind that you even now you don't see them as setbacks anymore. Like factually. So how do I define setback is when things are not going on the way they were foreseen or they were going.
Yeah.
So the beauty here is that you have such a selective capacity of selecting your thoughts, because it's also all about thoughts. It's like our life is driven by the thoughts we are thinking, and that's the emotions which will be created, that's the actions we will take. And the thoughts you are thinking are not, oh shit, I fell out of 100 meters, I'm so oh no, I had broken. No, you even don't talk about, you barely didn't talk about your injury, you just talked about what it gave you.
Yeah.
And that's a real power. So I really say congrats for that. It's really powerful.
It's not something that I work on. It's something that is natural in me. I forget the bad things to leave the space to the positive things, and it's like this. And sorry, but it's.
Don't be sorry. Please don't be sorry. What I would really love to is like to, and that's maybe something we will do beyond this interview, is really to dig deep and to understand where it's coming from. Because if there is some kind of a formula, that's something I would like to give to people, because it is something. It's beautiful. I have the pleasure to know some of these people. It was like it's always positive. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah, very powerful. Now, we said we will go for 45, 50, 60 minutes. So I have one last question to you. Actually, like being 12, coming out of corporate, going through what you went there, jumping in a real sense, jumping into your entrepreneurial journey, and now being 12 years into entrepreneurial journey and having this in a way stabilized, you have it. What would be one or two gifts, one or two like things you want to give to entrepreneurs, saying, okay, that's what I think is really powerful for you, even so everybody takes out of it what he wants, but like what would be your two biggest, like, do that's what helped me most?
Well, I'd love to find the good answer to that. When I meet a new entrepreneur, I always say that I don't have the answer for them. They have the answer, and they will create the path themselves.
Yes.
The thing is, I always invite them to select the path that will bring them the most pleasure. Because pleasure will let them overcome, let them do extraordinary things instead of ordinary things.
Yeah.
If you are ordinary, if you do things like the others, you're not interesting. If you do things that the others are not doing, then you are interesting. And my recommendation is, don't be afraid to do things that others are not doing.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to listen to the others saying that that will never work. I had so many times this message from day one to, well, now I don't have any more that kind of message, because it's a fact.
No, it works.
It's working well, and yeah, you're doing well, and so on. But 6 years ago, I was still having, Pierre, do you realize that after 6 years, yeah, you're just starting to have a balance sheet, which is okay. Will you ever manage to make it bigger? And today, yes, it's a fact. But I did that because I was not listening to that people who are conventional and think that it is because you do things that have already been done that you manage to do something big. No, you do something interesting if you're not doing the same thing that the others. And it's exactly back to the improv.
Yeah.
What interests when you're on the scene, what is interesting is when you bring a situation which is extraordinary. In ordinary story don't interest people, and it is because you will start a conversation which is not normal that suddenly the story becomes interesting. It's the same for an entrepreneur. If you manage to bring something extraordinary in your business, which will drive you and drive your pleasure, then I think that you've got a good cocktail.
Thank you for sharing. That was beautiful advice. And what I really hear out of our whole conversation is pleasure, 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 pleasure. There are people who are driven by fear in their life. A lot of entrepreneurs are. And there are people who are driven by pleasure in their life. And it's coming back to biochemistry. Fear does create a negative biochemistry. Pleasure creates a positive biochemistry. Yeah. And that's really powerful. And I think, so to synthesize a little bit what you said is, as an entrepreneur, find your pleasure. Don't be driven by the fear of having to be successful. Don't be driven by the fear of being somebody you maybe think you think you have to be. Just be driven by pleasure. And that's where what I see is like improv, marathon, sailing. That's where all that comes together, because all that it's you. It's pleasure. It's not the pleasure for bling bling. It's the pleasure. It's epicurism. It's the pleasure inside which it creates for you. So come to really make a full circle.
Yeah.
Back to the pleasure inside you create for yourself. Wow. Thank you so much, Pierre. That was an amazing hour. And yeah, I think we could go on for more, but as I said, we do it in this time frame. I thank you so much for your openness and your vulnerability and sharing was beautiful. Was a beautiful share, and yeah, looking forward to talk to you very soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marco.